Hello, it's Auntie Tandy if you are not my child. Otherwise, it's Mommy. Hello, children. I hope you're fine. Today, we continue the story of Jesus who got lost. Oh, you're wondering, what is this on my head? Xhosa women sometimes wear clothes made of material like this, different colors, red, orange, and it's called umbhaco. Okay, these days we usually wear it at weddings and other different celebrations. Okay, back to the Bible. So, Jesus was lost. Lost! Where was he? Mary and Joseph went back to Jerusalem. They looked everywhere. 3 days they hunted for Jesus. They couldn't find him. For 3 long, scary days, they didn't know where their son was. Can you imagine how scary that was? It is one of the worst things that can happen to a mommy and daddy, for their child to be lost. For so many days, they didn't know if he had been killed. They didn't know if someone had kidnapped him and taken him away and was keeping him as a prisoner. They didn't know if he was eating. They didn't know where he was. They were so worried. Finally, they went to the temple. You know who was sitting in the temple very happy, not worried at all? Jesus. He was happy. He was talking to the priests and the rulers. Now remember, Jesus hadn't gone to any school. He had not been taught by any priest or special teacher. He had been taught by his mommy. But Jesus understood the Bible even better than the Bible teachers. Jesus would ask a question, and after they answered, Jesus would answer, and his answer would be even better and wiser than what the priests were saying. I imagine that maybe he said, can you please teach me about what Isaiah says about the coming Messiah? And then I bet you the priest said, okay, Isaiah tells us that the Messiah will come and he will be a king and he will fight against the Romans and deliver us from the Romans, and he will become our new leader and take over the world. And then I bet if that was the answer, then Jesus said, but doesn't it say he is a counselor? Doesn't it say he's Prince of Peace? That doesn't really sound like a fighting king, does it? Doesn't it sound like the Messiah will come and counsel us, teach us things? What do you think? And the priests were so surprised. How can such a young boy understand the Bible? What he's saying makes sense. That's what they were thinking and saying to each other. This boy is so clever and he's so young. How old was Jesus when he got lost? 12 years old. They were so surprised. But Mary and Joseph, first they were happy. But afterwards, when they called Jesus, do you think they were happy? They were happy, but they were upset. Why did you stay behind? Don't you know that we were worried about you? Asked Mary. So his mom was very upset. Didn't you care? And Jesus said, but why were you worried? Didn't you know that I must do my father's work? Joseph was his father on earth, but he came from the Father in heaven. So he was saying to them, my father's house is the temple. So didn't you think that I would stay in the temple and do his work, to start teaching? Mary and Joseph didn't understand this. Huh? Be in the temple and do his father's work. They didn't understand that. But they thought, we'll remember this. Remember, they had been told by an angel about Jesus. So they kept all these things. An angel came and said Jesus is going to save the world. And now Jesus stayed in the temple and he said he has to do his father's work. Let's see what will happen. And I agree also, children. We will also see what will happen. But for now, Mary and Joseph had found Jesus. They were together and Jesus went home. And that is where Luke 2 ends. Luke 2 tells us about Jesus, tells us about Jesus being lost. And it says they went back to Nazareth after Jerusalem. And Jesus grew in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and man. Luke 2 verse 52. That's how it ends. Next time I want to hear you singing it. All right, make sure you sing loudly. Luke 2 verse 52.